coming to you from the heart of Toronto with a video about how one book could change the trajectory of your life entirely. It's a big claim, right? If you watched last week's video, you probably have a pretty good idea of which book I'm talking about. It's The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. In this video, I'm going to lay out 5 ideas from that book that have changed the way I approach my life, and I think could change the way you go about your work. If you are a creative who is stuck, if you are a writer who does not write, if you are an entrepreneur who is not starting the business that you have in mind to start, there's a reason for that, and the reason is resistance. Resistance is a real thing. Resistance is a natural force that exists solely to keep you from doing the work that is yours to do. And by work that's yours to do, I mean work that if you don't do it, it will not get done. And I don't mean that in some cosmic plan sense. I mean that simply in that you have a certain set of skills, talents, inclinations that naturally would result that when you do your work, it looks different than anybody else's work is going to look, right? So if you don't do it, nobody's going to do it. Resistance is a force that keeps you from following that thing you might call your true north or your North Star. Resistance in the book he describes in a number of ways. He describes it as implacable, like it's not going anywhere. It's universal, it hits everybody. It's invisible, we can't see it. And it's fueled by fear. Whatever it is you're afraid of, resistance is gonna find it, it's gonna isolate that, and it's gonna come at you with it. Now let's talk about a second idea around the resistance, which is that the resistance takes a lot of forms. In your life, it may look like procrastination. It may look like drama. It may look like addiction. It may look like victimhood. Do you know what I'm talking about yet? Do you understand what the resistance is? Do you have an idea of what it might look like for you in your life? Pressfield writes at one point that resistance kicked his ass from one coast to the next for years, and he never even knew it existed. Resistance kicked my ass to a jail cell on the island of Guam before I even had any idea what the hell was going on. But once you understand what resistance is and once you understand what it looks like for you, there is a way to combat resistance and win the battle one day at a time. The way to do that, Pressfield calls adopting the professional's mindset or turning pro. Now, turning pro is best exemplified by one quote that's in the book from the British author Somerset Maugham, the novelist, where he was at once asked, "Do you write when inspiration strikes, or do you write on a schedule?" He said, "Oh, I only write when inspiration strikes. Fortunately, she arrives every morning at 9 o'clock sharp." That was a British accent, just to be clear. But he's saying, I'm sitting my ass down at 9 o'clock every morning and I'm gonna write. There is a magic to the creative arts. There's a magic to creating anything. But that when the muse comes, there's a point in the book that says she's gotta find you in the seat. And I know most people think that it's about talent, it's about luck. That's not true. If you look at the greatest artists of all time, sure, they made some really great art. Picasso had some phenomenal stuff, but did you know Picasso made like 12,000 paintings? How many Picasso paintings can you name? Like 3, right? Beethoven, he wrote hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces of music. If you want to make great art, you've got to start by making a lot of art. Which brings me to my 4th point. Turning pro, focusing on doing the work today, winning the battle against resistance today, does have a magical effect, which is that it connects us to the muse. It connects us to the gods, as Pressfield talks about. It somehow gets the ego, our little fearful self that's just concerned about me and getting mine, and what if they make fun of me, what if I'm not accepted, what if nobody's gonna like me. It gets that out of the way and allows us just to connect with the universe. And that's where beauty comes from. That's where inspiration can strike. That's where we can create the works that hundreds of years from now people are still going to be talking about. The world needs you to be doing your work. I believe that this stuff is not academic. That creativity is not flimsy and fun. That there is nothing more important that you can be doing than figuring out what it is you do and then doing it. It's a gift to the world, and it's a gift to yourself. There's one thing we find is that people who do their work, they tend to get healthier, they tend to get happier. And as you do more work, you get better at it, which means that you get more likely to be able to make a living doing it. We need more people in the world who are doing that work. And I want you to be one of them. But what you gotta realize is that it is not about luck, it is not about talent, it is about showing up and doing the work. My mantra over the last several months has been, you are in the arena. There is a battle every day that I have to fight. It's against my resistance. Some days I win, some days resistance beats me. But I show up every day ready to duke it out in the arena. The first step is not to write the perfect book. The first step is not to start the next multi-billion-dollar business. The first step is just to take one step. What is it you can do today? What's one thing you can do to move yourself forward creatively? And go do it. And then tomorrow, do it again. That's how we turn pro. And turning pro is how we beat the resistance. If you know somebody who is one of those creators who's not creating, pass this along. These are words that struck me at just the right time in my life, that has changed my life, and I think the War of Art has the ability to do that for others as well. I know it because I've seen it. Thanks a lot.